opioids have impacted my life and my daughter's life in a way that probably I never imagined it would. Looking back about 12 years ago, I moved to Danville from Richmond at the time with my girlfriend, got a new job here, kind of started out with that fresh start, life was looking good. Things were really moving forward. We actually purchased our first home in the county and went forward, kind of in that direction that life was, that golden picture was starting to get painted. Not shortly after we were married, some things started to happen, like, started getting mail at the same address and things like that. And so credit card bills started coming in and kind of, what are these things? What is that? And, all of a sudden, things from the home place were missing, or, couldn't figure out where stuff was, or I do a lot of outdoorsman stuff or hunting and stuff. And, all of a sudden a gun was missing one day, or this was gone. A lot of unanswered questions, to be honest, like just didn't really know what was happening. For about a couple of years, it really just kind of picked up and progressed, to the point of where there'd be days where trips I'd be going out of town for work, and all I could do is think about like what's going to be gone when I get home, what's going to be missing, like where are these things going. And kind of as we started to have some discussions in the home, it was a lot of different answers or good stories or just things that really didn't add up. Things just kept progressing, and that snowball was building and building, and kind of soon it really escalated a few years into just complete loss of control, or even for me, like an idea of what was going on, a sense of loss and kind of hopelessness. But also reflecting back, I think it was very much a place where I was scared to open up or seek help to someone else, ask a family member. I was ashamed of what was going on. And didn't even know even to tell my parents, like for advice, because I felt like, what is going on? But I don't want people to know what's going on. I don't even know what's going on. It came all kind of full circle one day when I got a call from a detective that said, I'm at your home, I'm trying to get in. I need to speak with your wife, but she won't come to the door. Kind of get inside and realize like, something major is going on here. And so all of the things that had been going on as I was probably providing more filters to reduce the things that were happening, then they started happening in the workplace. At that point, she was getting a charge, and literally on the way to her office to pick up her stuff that day as I was driving her, I'm like, what in the world is going on? Like, this isn't about money. This isn't about this. Like I'm lost here. And so she had told me, she was like, I've got a severe problem with opioids. And basically that's what's been going on for the past 3 or 4 years. That's why I've been selling your stuff. That's why I've been not coming home. That's why I've been borrowing money, opening up credit cards, getting lines of credit. It was almost a sense of relief for me a little bit, because I was like, man, at least I know like what's going on. Like, what do we need to do here? I'm like, it sounds like you could, use some kind of help, like assistance, like we got a detox, like what, like I'm start thinking all these things are coming to my mind. And so she went to an off-site treatment program for 45 days. I was just trying to get my own life together at that point, and really pull things together. Things were going pretty well. She came home, started going to meetings, things like that. We were literally just trying to work on ourselves at that point. And then, at some point try to work on our relationship. I don't know, maybe a half a year, 8 months after the treatment program, she got pregnant with our daughter, Michaela. And so, it's kind of one of those things like, okay, well, maybe this is a good thing. Like, who knows what's going to happen, but, we started to really come together. Michaela was born on May 11th, on Mother's Day. Like a week to the day after she was born, her mom and I were at the house, and her grandma was there, and Mom fell out in the living room, and ambulance had to come. We rushed to the hospital, thought it was like delivery complications, and it turned out that she was using again and had gone into a seizure, and her body was rejecting the opioids. And so at that point, my whole entire life really changed, because it wasn't about me. It wasn't about what was happening in my life or her life, but we had a child. And so things from there really changed in my life, because at that point, I had to make a decision that, I think about all the time of, I can't continue down this path and do something for my daughter. And so it resulted in her mother and I separating and eventually getting divorced. And you think about one of the hardest decisions as a parent. And I think about it every day. And I don't know if it's the right decision or the wrong decision, but I look back and think of how much of a grasp that had to have on her at that time to make that decision when you have, a brand newborn child who you would think would be like that ultimate thing that would keep you from, going down any kind of path. But it made me realize too that it's not something that she might have control of, or, there's a lot of factors going on, and I needed to do what was best for my child at that point and try to make sure I could provide an environment for her. Now Michaela's in kindergarten. She's doing very well. She's a really great kid. I mean, just amazing child. Now my job as a father is very difficult. She doesn't understand why she can't see her mom. She doesn't understand. She doesn't know. Her mom and I had shared visitation for the past 5 years. And about 6 months ago, her mom was completely shut out, just by the court's doing, And I try to still get her. She has supervised visitation, so I try to get her to see her. But how do you explain that to a kid, especially a 5-year-old? So to say like how opioids have had an impact in my life, it's a grasp. I feel like it's a controller. It's been something that no matter how hard I fight, no matter how hard her mom fights, it seems like it's there, it's the backbone. And even though myself have never had to fight that struggle, I'm right there every day, even though we're not in the same place we were, even the same household. Our child inherently now will live all of that for the remainder of her life. If we start looking at the effects of incarcerated parents and legal issues and repeated abuse, and it's one of those things that opioids can have such an impact on the individual, but the reach and the grasp is so far away from that individual person. I think that it's made a very prolific statement in my life too, and changed a lot of opinions or thoughts that I may have had too on what opioids or people that struggle with substance abuse and stuff like that, what challenges they face. Because I think that I really, and I try to be there to support as much as I can for her mother, because I know that it's beyond important for her mother to be very involved in her life just as much as me. But I can't make her do that. I can't make her take steps or anything. She's kind of got to do it for herself. And I think that that's one of the hardest parts of being in a family situation where somebody struggling with substance abuse is that, you learn about all the enabling and all the stuff that you're not supposed to do, and kind of being there for loving and encouragement and things. But they've got some serious battles that they have to face daily. And I think that sometimes it's just as difficult for those in the surrounding family when you look at like how that impacts people, and even just moving forward in generations. You have to connect with people. And you can be scared to talk to people and share what's going on. I mean, for so long, there was literally probably 3 people, including my parents, that even knew this story. Being open and knowing that there's probably a whole lot more people that are going through the same situation that you are, that are directly surrounding you. Releasing some of those stigmas, I think, that come with that, and connecting with people that have shared experiences or can be there just as a support and balance. Because I really learned too that unless I can take care of myself first, I can't be there for anyone else as well. And so as that kind of snowballing's happening, sometimes you feel like there's nothing you can do, or who do I go to, or what do I do? There are people out there. Kind of an acronym that's used sometimes, that you don't want to be too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. They say, don't ever halt. And that works for someone who struggles from substance abuse and the family members. You can get, especially for me, out of town, don't have family here. There's a lot of lonely moments. And I think that connectedness really helps give you a sounding board on what maybe some options or things you could or shouldn't be doing. Because a lot of times you try to fix, it's especially when they're ones you love and are connected with. You try to do everything you can to fix things, and I'll do this, and this will be better, and I'll pay for that, I'll do this, we'll be, but you struggle, you wade through the water and tread water for a lot longer than you need to. There's a lot of lifelines that are in our community that you just got to connect with. My daughter, it's the only hope I need. I see how great of a person she's becoming. That's my number one hope, my number one goal, my number one life mission. The things that are happening in our community, even with my job, like we got a grant from the National Recreation and Park Association to do an opioid mentoring grant. And purely, it was a reach out, kind of one of those things like, this is pretty interesting. And they literally called me and asked if our department would be involved. Seeing the opioid task force, the things at DPCS and like RASAP, and there's a lot of energy behind helping support all people. I think that those things in its entirety, and showing where communities are connecting and getting together and starting to connect some of these things now to build infrastructure and build that, like these videos right here, it shows people that you're not alone. We're all fighting this together. There's a lot of people here for support. That's what gives me hope too, as a person, and for our community, and really for the nation, really.